Gen Z found a loophole. You don't have to wait until you're 65 to retire. You can do it now at 25, for a few months at a time. It sounds insane. The math is real, and so is the price. This is why Gen Z is micro-retiring, explained stupidly simple. First, what it actually is, because it's not a long weekend. A micro-retirement is when you quit your job on purpose with no new one lined up. You live off your savings for a few months, sometimes a whole year. You rest, you travel, you breathe. Then you go back to work. It's a normal retirement, chopped into pieces and spread across your whole life, instead of saved up in one giant lump for the very end. And it's not just lying on a beach. Ask people what the break is really for. And the biggest reason is mental health, actually recovering from the burnout. Others use the time to travel or to finally build something of their own. And it is not tiny. In one 2025 survey, nearly 1 in 10 workers said they were planning a micro-retirement that year. And among Gen Z, almost 2/3 said they'd consider one. This isn't 3 people on the internet. It's a wave. It's mainstream enough that 3 out of 4 workers now say companies should make these breaks official, a real policy, like normal time off. They're not asking permission anymore. They're asking for the paperwork. So why would anyone walk away from a paycheck on purpose? Because they watched the old deal break. The old deal was simple: work hard for 40 years, retire at 65, and then enjoy your life. Gen Z looked at that deal and noticed 2 problems. Problem 1, retirement keeps moving, prices go up, saving gets harder, and someday quietly slides further and further away. For a lot of them, 65 doesn't feel like a promise. It feels like a carrot on a stick. Problem 2, and this one is darker. The waiting can kill you. The World Health Organization found that working long hours led to 745,000 deaths in a single year from stroke and heart disease. Working 55 hours a week raises your stroke risk by about a third. So Gen Z did the cold math. If later might never come, take some of the rest now while you're young enough to actually use it. Honestly, hard to argue with. But here's the part the trending videos skip. It is not free. There are 2 bills and one of them is invisible. The first bill is called wage scarring. Ugly name, simple idea. When you quit and come back later, you often come back on less money than if you just stayed. The gap doesn't close when you return. It follows you, quietly, for years. The second bill is worse because you never see it leave your account. It's the money you didn't save while you were resting. $1 you invest at 25 has 40 years to grow. The same dollar saved at 45 only gets 20. So the savings you skip in your 20s aren't just missing, they're the most valuable savings you will ever not make. So basically, $10,000 left alone to grow can quietly turn into around $150,000 by the time you're 65. So a single year off in your 20s doesn't cost you a year of pay. It can cost you a small fortune at the finish line. That's the bill nobody puts in the thumbnail. And funding it gets a little funny too. In that same survey, more than a third said they'd pay for their break with a side hustle. So, you retire from your job to go work a different one. Rest is complicated now. So is micro-retirement smart or is it a trap? Genuinely? It depends on one thing. How easily can you get hired again? If you have a skill companies are fighting over, a micro-retirement is close to a cheat code. You leave, you rest, you walk back in, the door stays open. If you don't, that same break can turn into a gap you can't explain and a job you can't get back. Same move, completely different outcome. So it isn't lazy and it isn't magic. It's a bet. You're wagering money later against rest right now. And sometimes rest right now really is worth more. Just go in with your eyes open. Because a micro-retirement isn't a free vacation. It's a vacation you might still be paying for in 40 years. Subscribe for more things explained stupidly simple.